Tonight, President Trump in an escalating feud with Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, for years one of his most prominent supporters. At the center of their fight, the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and the push by a bipartisan group of lawmakers, including Greene, to get more information released about his crimes. Today, President Trump writing, Marjorie Taylor Greene is a disgrace to our great Republican Party. Part of a series of posts about Greene, including this one, in which he said he was withdrawing his support and endorsement of the Georgia Congresswoman, saying all I see wacky Marjorie do is complain, complain, complain. A far different tone than the one he's had for Greene in the past.
Hello, Marjorie. She's a warrior. Oh, there she is. Oh, look at her. How beautiful.
Greene has long been one of President Trump's most loyal supporters.
Let's get him back in the White House for 4 more years.
Today saying she is now getting threats following the president's attacks against her, which have been escalating since a lawmaker yesterday posted, "It's astonishing, really, how hard he's fighting to stop the Epstein Files from coming out, that he actually goes to this level."
Hey crew, it's Adam here. Marjorie Taylor Greene just did something that nobody expected. She leaked details of a private phone call with Donald Trump, and what she described is absolutely explosive. A screaming match so intense that her entire office staff could hear the president yelling through the speakerphone. This is not normal. This is not how presidents behave. This is a sitting president losing complete control over a single issue.
The U.S. Justice Department has reinstated a photo of Donald Trump that had been removed from the cache of Epstein files released at the weekend. Officials said the image had been reposted after they determined there was no evidence that any Epstein victims were shown in the photo. At least 13 files from the thousands released on Friday relating to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein had disappeared from the department's website. Democrats on the House Oversight Committee questioned the removal of the images, alleging an attempted cover-up.
The Epstein Files. Here is what makes this story different from every other political fight. This is not Democrats attacking Trump. This is not the media manufacturing controversy. This is one of his most loyal soldiers exposing what happens behind closed doors. And what she revealed is that Trump screamed at her about one thing. His friends would get hurt if those files came out.
Less than a week before Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene resigns from office, she's making new allegations in her fallout with President Trump over the Epstein files. In a New York Times interview, Greene says Trump privately told her, quote, "My friends will get hurt if alleged abusers connected to Epstein were exposed." In a statement, the White House says, quote, "Congresswoman Greene is quitting on her constituents in the middle of her term and abandoning the consequential fight we're in. We don't have time for her petty bitterness."
Not national security, not classified information, not some noble principle. His friends. Think about that for a second. The President of the United States looked at the push for transparency about a dead pedophiles network, and his immediate concern was protecting the people in his circle. That is a confession. That is Trump admitting there are names in those files that matter to him personally. Names he does not want the public to see. Here is exactly what went down. Greene, along with Representatives Khanna and Thomas Massie, signed a discharge petition to force a vote on the Epstein Files Transparency Act. This petition is a procedural weapon that forces Congress to vote on releasing every single document from the Epstein investigation. No redactions, no protecting anyone. Full transparency. Every name, every interaction, every piece of evidence that was collected. When Trump found out about this petition, he lost his mind. He called Greene directly, and according to her account, he was screaming so loud that everyone in her office could hear him through the speaker. This was not a calm discussion about policy differences. This was a president in full panic mode, and the content of that screaming is what matters most. He told her his friends would get hurt. Now, Trump eventually signed the bill. He had no choice. The discharge petition succeeded. Congress was going to vote on it whether he liked it or not, and if he vetoed it, they likely had the votes to override him, so he signed it under duress. And then he did what he always does when he is forced into something he hates. He went on Truth Social and attacked everyone involved. He called Greene a traitor. He said she had lost her way. He withdrew his endorsement. He tried to destroy her politically. This is the part that should terrify every Republican watching. Marjorie Taylor Greene is not some occasional Trump supporter. She has been through every battle with him. The Twitter fights, the impeachments, the indictments. She was there for all of it. She defended him when almost nobody else would, and Trump turned on her like she was nothing because she pushed for transparency about Jeffrey Epstein. What does that tell you about every other relationship he has? What does that tell you about what he is willing to do to protect whatever is in those files? The timing here is critical because the files are actually being released right now. This is not some future hypothetical. Documents are coming out, names are being revealed, and Trump is panicking in real time. He is so desperate to control the narrative that he is willing to destroy one of his own most loyal soldiers to send a message to everyone else. Do not push for transparency. Do not make me reveal what is in those files. Do not force my hand. And then Greene resigned from Congress. She just left. She stepped down shortly after this whole thing exploded. Was it coincidence? Was she so humiliated by Trump's public attack that she could not continue? Did Trump pressure her behind the scenes to resign and minimize the damage? We do not know for sure, but the timing looks exactly like someone who was broken by the political machine she helped build. Trump is terrified of what is in those files. A president with nothing to hide wants transparency. A president who is innocent wants his name cleared. A president who did nothing wrong welcomes the release of documents that prove his innocence. Trump does the opposite. Trump screams at people who push for transparency. Trump attacks them. Trump calls them traitors. That is not the behavior of an innocent man. That is the behavior of someone who knows there is something damaging in there. We do not know exactly what he is worried about yet, but we know the circles he ran in. Trump and Epstein had a social relationship. They moved in the same wealthy Florida and New York circles. Trump attended Epstein's parties in the 90s and early 2000s. His name has appeared in various documents related to Epstein's associates. He has been deposed in cases related to Epstein. There is a public record of a woman accusing Trump of assault at an Epstein party, so it is entirely plausible that Trump is worried about documents that mention him or his close associates. But even if his name never appears, his reaction tells us something else. He is worried about his friends. He admitted that on the phone call. His friends would get hurt, so he knows people in his inner circle who are connected to Epstein. He knows names that would embarrass him or worse, and he is willing to destroy a loyal congresswoman to protect them. The Republican Party is fracturing in real time. This fight between Trump and Greene is not a small disagreement. It is a fundamental split over whether transparency matters more than protecting powerful people. Greene, Khanna, and Massie should have nothing in common. A progressive Democrat, a libertarian Republican, and a MAGA firebrand. They agree on exactly one thing. The Epstein files need to come out. All of them. No redactions. That tells you how broad the suspicion is that powerful people were protected during the Epstein investigation. But Trump's response to that bipartisan push tells Republicans something else. It tells them that if you cross him on this issue, he will destroy you. He will call you a traitor. He will withdraw his endorsement. He will try to end your political career. And most Republicans are going to look at what happened to Greene and decide that pushing for transparency is not worth it. They are going to stay quiet. They are going to hope the spotlight lands somewhere else. They are going to choose loyalty to Trump over accountability to the public. That is how authoritarianism works. Not through dramatic coups, but through 1,000 small decisions where people choose self-preservation over principle. The files are coming out anyway, and Trump cannot stop them. This is the part that matters most. Trump can scream at Greene. He can call her a traitor. He can withdraw his endorsement. He can try to destroy her politically. But he cannot stop the discharge petition. He cannot stop Congress from releasing the files. The mechanism was already in motion. The signatures were already gathered. The vote was already forced. And now the documents are being made public whether Trump likes it or not. Every new document that drops is another piece of evidence, another name, another connection, another revelation about who knew what and when they knew it. And Trump has no control over any of it. He can only react. He can only attack. He can only try to discredit the process and the people who pushed for it. But eventually the truth comes out. Eventually, people see the documents for themselves. Eventually, they make up their own minds about what the evidence shows. And if Trump's name appears in those files, if his associates are named, if there is any suggestion that he or his circle were involved in anything inappropriate or illegal, then the pressure becomes enormous. Calls for investigations, calls for hearings, calls for accountability, and Trump has already shown that he will do anything to prevent that. He has already shown that he will attack his own supporters to try to control the narrative. What happens when the evidence is undeniable? This is about whether the rule of law actually exists in America. Jeffrey Epstein committed horrific crimes. He victimized women and children. He was convicted. He died in prison. But there have always been suspicions that other powerful people were involved, that they were protected because of their connections, that the investigation was limited in ways that protected certain names. The files might contain evidence of that. They might show that there are two systems of justice in this country, one for powerful people and one for everyone else. Trump does not want that coming out. Trump does not want the public to learn that powerful people can escape justice because of who they know. Trump does not want transparency because he benefits from that system. He is one of the powerful people who gets protected. He has spent his entire life operating in circles where connections matter more than rules. And when Greene pushed for transparency, she was threatening that whole system. She was threatening to expose it. She was threatening to show that powerful people have been protected while regular people go to prison. Trump had to attack her. He had to try to stop it. Because if that system breaks down, if people learn that powerful people have been protected, then Trump himself becomes vulnerable. He loses the protection that comes from being powerful and connected. He faces the same accountability as everyone else. And that is what he fears most. The discharge petition was the mechanism that made this all possible. It is a procedural tool that allows members of Congress to force a vote even when leadership does not want it. It requires a majority of the House to sign on. And when Greene, Khanna, and Massie got enough signatures, they were sending a message to Trump. We do not care what you want. The people want this vote. Democracy is going to work whether you like it or not. Trump's response was to lose control completely, to scream at a congresswoman so loud that her entire office could hear, to admit that his friends would get hurt, to sign the bill under duress and then immediately attack everyone involved. That is not the behavior of someone who believes in the system. That is the behavior of someone who sees the system as a threat. So where does this leave us? It leaves us with a president who is terrified of transparency. It leaves us with a Republican Party that is cracking apart over whether loyalty matters more than accountability. It leaves us with files that are coming out regardless of what anyone does to stop them. And it leaves us with a fundamental question about whether America actually has a rule of law or whether powerful people get special treatment. The next few months are going to reveal a lot. More documents are going to be released, more names are going to come out, more questions are going to be raised, and Trump is going to have to deal with whatever is in those files. He can attack Marjorie Taylor Greene. He can call her a traitor. He can withdraw his endorsement. He can try to destroy her politically, but he cannot stop the process. The files are coming out. The truth is coming out. And that truth is going to define his second term in ways we cannot fully predict right now. It could be nothing. It could be everything. But Trump's reaction tells us which way he is leaning. Innocent people do not scream at their own supporters to stop transparency. Innocent people do not panic about files being released. Innocent people do not admit that their friends would get hurt if the truth came out. Trump did all of those things, and Marjorie Taylor Greene told the whole country about it. The cracks in the MAGA coalition are now visible to everyone. The question is how many more cracks appear before the whole thing shatters.